welcome to Grandad Reviews. Now, I know it's been a bit of a while, but I've taken a bit of a break just to get myself sorted. As if you've seen in previous videos, now I've got a neurological problem that sometimes causes me issues. Mobility at the moment is the biggest issue, so I've just been taking a bit of rest from YouTube. Let's see if we can get back into it. So in this video, I'm going to have another look at Dehancer. I'm going to focus on Lightroom, and I'm just going to look at my workflow. It doesn't have to be your workflow. This is just the way I'm doing it at the moment, and I'll just show you how I go through. What I'm going to do, we've got these two images here. One is a scanned image from Portra. This is Portra 160, and then this, and that was taken on the Canon EOS 5, and this was taken on the 5D, so it's the digital version of this image, and also not quite the same framing. I did move slightly. So what we're going to do is go through my workflow from here to see if we can get anywhere near to this. So if we take the digital one into the develop module, now you can use Dehancer. There is a desktop app for Mac. There isn't for Windows yet. You can also do it online, so you don't have to go through Lightroom, and there is an app for the iPad, so you could do it on there as well. So this is the digital image. Let's just show you the Portra image. So you can see the difference. So this is the Portra, this is the digital. If we zoom into this area here, you can see in the Portra we've obviously got grain. It's softer. We'll start with this digital image, and what I would say from the start is get your image technically correct. So your exposure, highlights, shadows, everything, get it somewhere near. So in this case I've done a little bit of editing, knocked the exposure down a little bit, added a bit of contrast, got rid of those highlights because the digital blows those highlights, especially on an old 5D. Brought the shadows up, probably bring them up a little bit more actually. A little bit of vibrance. Now we could soften it in here by taking the sharpening off, but it all depends on how close you want to get to the film look, as you might say. So we could bring this down. So when you got your image looking what you would want it to look like, I would say technically near enough right, so you've got all the exposures sorted out and everything like that. We're then going to stick it into Dehancer. So right click, and we can edit in Dehancer for the Lightroom. Now it's going to ask us what do you want to do. We want to take it over as a TIFF, we want to take it over as sRGB, and we're going to take it with all the edits in here as well. So let's move it across. Now the only thing with Dehancer is it's going to create another copy of your image. So this is Dehancer opened up, and we've got on here, you've got what films you want to use or presets, and a lot of these are presets done by Dehancer team, and you can put your own presets in here. We'll just stick to film. I want to go colour negative, and let's look down for Kodak Portra. So that brings that onto there, and down the bottom here we've got this histogram waveform, which you can, if you want, turn off, and if you find it useful or not. We've got clipping indicator, and before and after, and 1:1, and already you can see it's added that grain in. So come over to this side, and this is what's being input. So the sRGB that we brought it over at. So we've got exposure compensation. At the moment it's showing 0.25, so we could drop that if we wanted to, or raise it, put it at 0. And what you're really doing here is adjusting Dehancer to compensate for the film profile you've added, because that's going to change some of the settings you've just already done. We've got temperature if you want to warm it up, or cool it down. And the only thing I found with Dehancer in Lightroom is these sliders are really sensitive. Tint I'll keep the same. Don't think any defringing. So that's our input. Then we've got output. So basically what we're going to output when we save it or when we print it or whatever we want to do with it. So we're going to do the same as the input. So you're going to get it come out the same. But we'll just say same as input. And it's going to be full 100% of that. So now here's our film develop section. So this was as if you change your developer time or temperature when you're developing it. So this is basically saying how we develop the film. So you can take the contrast out, add more contrast if you want. I don't want too much contrast because film is soft. And we've got a gamma correction. I think I'll leave that. Color separation, again, we'll keep that at 0, at 100%. We can boost the color if you want a little bit more color in it, and give it 10. So that's the develop section. And then we come to the film compression. So what you're doing here, how much that film profile impacts. So we can tonal range. And it's a matter of finding the happy balance. I think we'll leave them all the same. We can expand that range. And we can change the black point, white point, if we find we want to get that in a better place. And we can do it by Luma so it doesn't affect the actual contrast of the image. So all these top bits, your input, your output, and then you've got these three here, all to do with the actual film, this film profile, and how it interacts with the digital image below it. And then we come to the print section. Now, you can either use this section or not, but what you're doing here is altering this profile to how it would hopefully look if you were to print it on paper. So you pick your paper. So if you picked Fujifilm, you haven't got a huge choice. Got 2 Kodaks, got a flat one, or linear, or don't use it at all. I'm not going to use it. And the color head is to interact with this print, so you can add more blue as if you were adjusting the color head on an enlarger. I'm not going to alter that because I don't want it to look like I've printed it. Then we've got film grain. So you've got some presets in here. So 35mm, the closest would be 250. Let's do 50 and see what difference that makes. So there's 35mm ISO 50, 250, but you can alter this. So I would go 50. I think that looks closer. And you can add some halation if you want to. I don't think it needs it. You can add bloom. Again, don't think it needs it. Film damage. Like we've got a bit of dust here. So you can enable dust, hairs, scratches. So I've got a little bit of dust. It just takes it out. Not the amount. And put a lot of dust. Make it really big. So you can change it as much as you want. Now we'll put a little bit of dust in. We'll put about 20 in there. New the scale. Hairs, you can add hairs. Let's add a little bit of hairs in there. So we've got an odd bit down here. Don't need scratches. Then we've got overscan. And this is basically putting an edge around it. You can have 35mm, widescreen, Panavision, Super 8, Super 35. So anything like that. Then we can add a vignette if you want to. I don't think I'll add a vignette. So this is what we've ended up with. And basically all we've used is check the input, check the output. We've done a film develop, which we really haven't changed a great deal. There's a little bit of colour boost, nothing much in it. Film compression. We've just compressed the dynamic range basically, because if you look down here, you watch that, we've just compressed it down so it's a bit more flatter. Done no expand, no print, no colour head, just done some film grain in there, not done any halation or bloom, and we've done a bit of film damage, which is very subtle, but it is there. There's a bit here, so if I go 1 to 1, there's a bit there. But if you notice with the film damage, it changes the grain as well. I've noticed that. So if we do the film damage and you look at the grain here, it moves, it changes. So that's our finished item. So we'll just go OK. This is the one we just edited. This one here is our actual film edit. Let's just go there. Yeah, still got the pigeon. And to be honest, they are pretty close. You look at this grain structure. Softness in the... Yes, it's probably a little bit softer. I did turn the sharpening down, didn't I? So let's just add a bit of sharpening into it. There's probably actually more damage on here than there is on the original one, but you can see that same lens still gives the same chromatic aberration just on there. But yeah, it is very very close. So this is the actual film scan. This is the edit we've done on the digital, and this is the digital. And I would say a little bit brighter on this one to bring the highlights down to make it a bit better. So yeah, as you can see, Dehancer does a really good job mimicking the film. So if I go up to here, that grain's pretty close. Yeah, so that's my workflow. It's just a quick look how I use Dehancer to not copy, but give a film look to a digital image. And you can see that it actually does get it pretty close to the film that it's trying to copy. And I think it's a nice addition to your workflow especially if you don't shoot film, but you do like the look of film with a bit of grain. It's a bit more, you'll have a bit more control. It's not so haphazard as trying to do it in Lightroom with the Lightroom sections that you can use. Adding grain with the grain in Lightroom doesn't look as natural. This still looks organic. It doesn't look digital. So yeah, it's, I think, as close as you're going to get just using a plugin. Yes, you can do it yourself. You can spend hours, but a few clicks and you're there. So yeah, I think it is. For someone who shoots film and digital, yes, it's a nice thing to have, especially if I want to show the difference. But I think if you just shoot film, you're going to have the film look, so you don't need something to give you that film look. But if you're shooting digital, I think, yeah, I really do like it. So just a quick message from our sponsor, me. Being as I can't get out as much now to do with photography, mobility is an issue, I've started doing some 3D printing. So you'll see there's a 3D Dave Shopify link at the bottom of this video. Go ahead and have a look. There's going to be some photography items on there eventually. At the moment it's just started off with Bluetooth speakers and a few other bits and bobs, but hopefully I'll be putting some more photography related items on there. I'm doing the designing myself, trying to keep the brain active. So take a look at that, and it helps me do these videos. So if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. That helps the channel. If you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. Till next time, see you later.